Hello students. Welcome to Chapter 11. In this chapter, we will learn about understanding conditional sentence in reading. 1. Introduction. Conditional sentence, using if, is very often found in reading, and most reader has good knowledge about this. This type of sentence has been discussed for many times, from junior high school to university level. Assumingly, students at undergraduate level have mastered this topic well. However, previous teaching experiences with undergraduate level suggests otherwise. Many students failed to provide correct answer when confronted with conditional sentence problem. Therefore, this module will discuss conditional sentence, but with emphasis in reviewing reading material that contains conditional sentence in it. This approach will have two benefits: refreshing lesson of conditional sentence, and analyzing reading material in connection to conditional sentence. But this unit is not intended to discuss conditional sentence as English structure, as it usually does. Rather, it provides reading from standard undergraduate textbook, in which conditional sentence is included in some parts. Therefore, students will learn more about the content of the text. By the same time, they will refresh their memory on the tricky things of conditional sentence. 2. Objectives. After completing this unit, the students are expected to be able to 1. Identify and translate key vocabularies, and apply them into different settings. 2. Analyze with peers on conditional sentence provided and reading material. 3. Write down a conditional sentence in reproduction of provided reading material. 4. Speak using conditional sentence of various settings. 3. Reading comprehension. The term development means a change over time, typically involving growth or expansion. Economic development involves changes in people's standard of living. For most of human history, there was little such change, but over the past 300 years, there has been a rapid, and, so far, sustained increase in almost every kind of human activity. Growth occurred first, and has been sustained the longest, in Northwest Europe and North America, but similar kinds of expansion have occurred all around the world. Development is a process with many economic and social dimensions. For most observers, successful economic development requires, as a minimum, rising per capita incomes, eradication of absolute poverty, and reduction in inequality over the long term. The process is a dynamic one, including not only changes in the structure and level of economic activity, but also increased opportunities for individual choice, and for improved self-esteem. If the development did not reduce the poverty, the development is considered fail. Development is often a painful process. Adjusting to new circumstances is always difficult. As Mark Twain famously wrote, "I'm all for progress, it's change I can't stand." There is often dramatic social upheaval, with traditional ways of life being displaced, existing social norms being challenged, and increasing pressures for institutional and political reform. The physical and cultural landscape of a country can change radically during economic development. And at the individual level, the standard of living for the poorest people in a society does sometimes decline, even as average real incomes increase. More often, the fruits of improvement are unequally distributed. By any measure, poverty and deprivation remain widespread, despite the astonishing improvements in living standards experienced by many, all across the globe. If economic activity continues to expand, there is continuous concern with the constraints imposed by natural resources and environmental factors. The World Commission on Environment and Development has defined sustainable development as development that meets the needs of the present, without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Thus, the term development encompasses not only an economic growth component, but distributional components, both for the current population and for future generations. Task 1. Vocabulary development. From the reading passage above, please find the meaning of some key vocabularies, and then make your own sentence using those vocabularies. 1. Development. 2. Future. 3. Growth. 4. Expansion. 5. Constraint. 6. Compromising. 7. Needs. 8. Encompass. 9. Distribution. 10. Sustainable. Please do the task. You can pause your video while completing the task. Task 2. Comprehension questions. The following questions are entirely based on the above passage. 1. Please identify conditional sentences that you find in the above passage, and then discuss with your peer about the meaning. 2. What is the best title for the above passage? 3. What are indicators of successful development? Please do the task. You can pause your video while completing the task. The sentence above is called a conditional sentence. Conditional sentences have two parts: the if clause and the main clause. There are three types of conditional sentences. Type 1. The action, at present or future, equals probable to happen. Type 2. Contrary to the facts, at present, equals impossible to happen. Type 3. Contrary to the facts, in the past, equals impossible to happen. Type if clause, main clause. Type 1. If the world is willing to alleviate hunger, study on food is imperative. Type 2. If you lived in the moon, you would see the earth above you. Type 3. If we had got independence in 1940, Japanese would not have colonialized our country. Note: possible variations of the basic forms. Conditional sentences may take negative forms. In type 1, instead of will, we may use can, may, might, must, or should. In type 2, instead of would, we may use might or could. In type 3, instead of would have, we may use might have or could have. Conditional sentence type 2 can be used to indicate unreality or improbability in the present. Conditional sentence type 3 can be used to refer an imaginary action in the past. In conditional sentence type 3, had can be put first, and the if is omitted. Example: had you come earlier, you would have seen my niece. Activity 1. Please imagine that your friend is the one in the list below. Ask him, or her, that she, or he, would, or could do, if she, or he, were the one in the list. Change roles, and practice the activity again. Start like this. A. If you were the president, what would you do? B. If I were the president, I would raise the fund for education. Here are the lists. President, an artist, a bird, a rector. Please do the activity. You can pause your video while completing the activity. Activity 2. Now imagine that your friend has something that she, or he, doesn't really have, or can do something that she, or he, really can't do. Ask your friend, starting like this. A. What would you do if you had 100 million rupees? B. If I had 1 billion rupees, I would go around the world. A. And what would you do if you could fly planes? B. If I could fly planes, I would. Please do the activity. You can pause your video while completing the activity. Six. Writing. Write down your imagination, if you win 1 billion rupees lottery. Please freely express your imagination. Please do the writing task. You can pause your video while completing the task. Well done, students. You have finished chapter 11. See you again. Bye.